What's good, y'all? I'm super psyched to talk about the Noivern buffs and changes in this hack. Keep in mind that this is a ROM hack. This is not intended for competitive play. I know a lot of new people might be coming to click on this video because Noivern's a cool Pokemon. You might be seeing this and thinking, what the fuck is this guy cooking right now? I don't blame you if this is out of context. It looks pretty crazy. In this ROM hack, every single Pokemon is extremely powerful. They all have all types of really fun tools that they can work with now. Every single Pokemon is also balanced to be able to switch between its abilities with an infinite use ability capsule, depending on the situation. And that's really great. But before I get into the meat and potatoes of the buffs here, I want to talk about the Google Sheet. You can find that link in the description. I have buffed and changed 600 plus moves in this hack. There's also tons of custom new abilities and custom brand new moves and stuff, and you can check out what all those do and a bunch of other useful links on that Google Sheet in the description below. Please give that a look. Just watching my videos is not enough information about the hack. You definitely need to check out that Google Sheet. It took me a lot of time and effort to make it, so definitely give that a look. But yeah, Noivern. I would cover the stats and all this other stuff first, but I'm honestly just going to get straight into the abilities. Amplifier, Aerolate. Aerolate is a very commonly requested ability for Noivern. Keep in mind that Boom Burst is only 125 base power now, and I say only loosely because it's not like that's bad. A 125 base power move with no drawbacks is incredible. With Aerolate at level 55, which is pretty much the end of the Aether Foundation arc, probably around Pony Island, but maybe the latter half of the Aether Foundation stuff, like Lusamine. Maybe you'll get Boom Burst in time for Lusamine. I don't know exactly yet, but in general, that's a very late game move. It's extremely powerful. It's 150 base power with Aerolate, no drawbacks. Just a great flying type stab option. Keep in mind that Ice also now resists your flying stab, so that's something to keep in mind. But yeah, that's really great. Your speed stat is great, but it's nothing too crazy for this hack standards. There's still a bunch of Pokemon that outspeed Noivern. There's all types of common priority attacks. Literally every single Pokemon gets at least one stab priority move for the most part, usually several, because there's dozens of new priority moves that you can check out. So those will definitely keep Noivern in check. Any fast offensive frail attacker in check. Not that it's super frail. I still kept some bulk. So the reason I did this base stat total change is because I wanted to make it 575 as a semi-pseudo. That fits Noivern pretty damn well. But then you would have to keep Noibat until level 35 because I do try to keep some consistency with the evolution levels for semi-pseudos and stuff. So you would have to evolve at 35 as a two-stage semi-pseudo, and I am not having you use Noibat for Olivia. That's cruel. Noibat is so much better now. I mean, it's fast and strong, but it's still it's not doing shit for Olivia. It's not going to cut it. So you will get it a lot earlier, 5 levels earlier, which is before Olivia, but the downside is you have slightly less HP, and the physical attack doesn't matter too much. So, because if it was a semi-pseudo, I would have kept the original stats and then maybe put just 80 base attack. I wouldn't have given it more special attack. Maybe 138 speed if I felt like being nice, but yeah, not too much of a difference as a semi-pseudo. So that's why I dropped this other HP. But Amplifier, also I do try to base HP a little bit more on size now, and Noivern's not the biggest dragon, so these stats fit well anyways. Although I do wish you could be a mixed attacker. Speaking of, with Aerolate, technically, so if you guys aren't new here and you are familiar with my work, you probably heard me talk about overlap with other Pokemon, how I try to keep all the Pokemon unique from one another. But Dragonite is actually another dragon flying type with Aerolate as one of its abilities. It's Aerolate and Drizzle now. But you might be thinking, okay, well that overlaps, doesn't it? And it does, technically. But Noivern is clicking special moves exclusively, while Dragonite is, when it's mostly clicking physical moves with Aerolate. I did even out its offensive stats, so its physical attack and special attack are much closer together now. It might even be equal, honestly. I kind of forget. It's either it's 120, 110, or just flat out 120 in both. Let me quickly check. I'm curious. Yeah, 120, 110, I was right. So 120, 110 offenses, but Dragonite is mostly using Aerolate for physical moves like E-Speed and stuff. Not that it doesn't have good, still has Hyper Voice and Hyper Beam, which are very powerful with Aerolate. Hyper Beam being 160 base power, normal type Draco Meteor. Giga Impact is the same thing, but physical. Tons of new moves have that same effect, by the way, so this is your first impression of my hack. Again, seriously, please check out that Google Sheet after you're done listening to this video, because every single move is about to change. It's really important you check those out. But yeah, Aerolate, awesome ability. Very, very straightforward. For most of the game, Amplifier and Aerolate are very equal in terms of how good they are. You could even argue Amplifier is better. Amplifier boosts stab moves like Draconic Wave, which is the exact same thing as Boom Burst, but it's Dragon type, and you also learn it 5 levels earlier. Dragon type, Boom Burst is very strong, 125 base power. With Amplifier gives the same boost as Aerolate does, so it's 150 base power. So you have a 150 base power stab move with either ability, with 0 drawbacks, and then you of course have all types of other stuff. Aeroblast is a 65 base power move that always crits, and that's also amplifier boosted, so that becomes 117-ish base power. Very strong. Only downsides it has a 5 PP and a 5% chance to miss, which in a Nuzlocke can actually bite you in the ass. So my ass would definitely run wide lens if I didn't need another item, but you might need another item. 5% is like, all right, you can kind of just ignore it, but once you're at 10%, it's like, all right, just slap the wide lens on there if you're doing a Nuzlocke, in my opinion. But yeah, unless you need the boosting item or some other item, but yeah, it's risky. So you have Commotion and Hyper Voice. Commotion is 85 base power, so with Amplifier that's 102, and that always confuses the opponent. Hyper Voice is just flat 114 base power, no drawbacks. I already covered how high strong Hyper Beam is. That's 192 base power with Aerolate. Very, very strong move. And then you have Harmonize with Aerolate. That becomes 72 base power, and that drops the opponent's attack and special attack by 1. So those are all great Aerolate options. Very, very solid. Later game it gets even better. Earlier in the game it's still good, but you have regular flying stab options, and then once you get Aeroblast, I would say Amplifier is better there for a little while. I would say from that level 45 until 55 stretch, Amplifier is going to be mostly used. Not that Aerolate is useless, because for certain boss fights you might need that Aerolate Hyper Voice or something for certain fights, but generally speaking you're going to want to run Aeroblast plus like Uproar, which is 120 base power. It's basically fighting type special outrage, and that is also amplifier boosted to 144 base power. Synchronize is a pretty cool move. It's pretty gimmicky, but essentially if the opponent is flying or a dragon type, you can get a Synchronize going, and Synchronize is 120 base power with Aerolate that's 144, and amplifier is 144. Just you get stab versus non-stab. And what that means is you can, especially versus other dragons, you can get a +1 special attack boost each time you click Synchronize. Keep in mind that I also balance level up moves sometimes for that if you had the Pokemon in the PC, say for example they're all caught at level 5, which they are, you'll have it sitting in the PC. Say you're level 57 and you just lost a Pokemon in Pony Island. All right, let me go add this Noivern I had sitting in my PC for a while. Now you can actually keep Synchronize. I'm not saying you should keep Synchronize from level 34 because I don't know if there's any relevant flying or dragon type boss fights. Maybe like for Guzma, some of his flying types, you could theoretically use Synchronize, but in general it's a little bit situational. Not that it's bad, because even if you only click Synchronize once, you get a +1 boost, but in general, that's more of a thing that you would want later on. Yeah, Amplifier very strong. Like I said, Aeroblast, Dragon, Draconic Wave are your two main moves with Amplifier, and then you have coverage moves. Earlier game, you have a lot of good stuff too. Dismal Cry and Disarming Voice are both 72 base power with Amplifier, and those have the same effect as Harmonize. Those drop your, well, those drop the opponent's attack and special attack by 1. Priority moves like Gust Twister and Swift are not super worth it. Maybe you could justify Swift with Aerolite, but in general, I wouldn't run either of them. They'll destroy you super fast. You don't really need it. Unless, you know, for a specific boss fight, you might be able to run it and then delete it afterwards. Doesn't matter. You got all types of options, alright? For the 20s, there's a lot of totems. There's 3 totems in a row, so a lot of Pokemon get moves like that during that point in the game. So like Screech and Battle Cry, for example, Screech dropping defense by 2, Battle Cry dropping attack and special attack by 2. You also have Parting Shot, you got Roost, obviously not the greatest on Noibat, although after a Battle Cry you could definitely Roost up if you wanted to, or Parting Shot out after that Battle Cry versus like, I don't know, Totem Marowak or something would be pretty solid. But yeah, in general, these guys are I mean, they're frail for this hack standards unless you're running investment, which you can do. You can run max HP and, you know, take some hits with your decent defensive typing. You have some solid resists for certain fights. Battle Cry is great, especially off of 133 base speed. Battle Cry is very nice. You can definitely keep that. It really just depends on what you need on your team. You know, if you need more utility, you can run the dropping moves, but in general, it's more of an offensive Pokemon. Pretty straightforward, honestly. You just click buttons. And yeah, like I said, this is a low priority. It has great coverage moves. Noivern's always had great coverage moves. I just added a couple more, you know, Hydro Pump and Sludge Bomb, Energy Ball, Giga Drain, which I don't know why I didn't get before, because it learns Absorb and shit normally in Leech Life. I don't know why I didn't give it Giga Drain, but yeah, super fun stuff. Again, swapping between Amplifier and Aerolate, 2 sound-based abilities, because Aerolate boosts your sound moves, obviously, your special sound moves. So, besides Hyper Beam, which is not a sound move, but like, yeah. Hyper Beam is fun as fuck. Hyper Beam plus like Draco Meteor, super sick. Oh, I guess I could also give Draconic Beam at 60 just for the fun of it. Not even that great, but yeah, I'll just put it for the fun of it. That's a stronger version of Draco Meteor that only... They didn't need it. They don't need it, but it's... Fuck it, I like Noivern, who cares? I don't know. It doesn't matter too much. It's all for in-game anyways. That's part of this. You gotta keep that in mind, alright? It's all balanced for in-game use. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave the video off there. I don't want to drag this on for too long. I guess I can say Snore with Aerolate is pretty fun too. Snore will always flinch the opponent, so if you rest and then you Snore, you have 2 turns of guaranteed flinches. So coming off of your high speeds, that you can actually get that off. Keep in mind though, you have to take a hit to rest. You know, you have to be missing HP to take a rest or to use rest. So It's a little bit still pretty gimmicky, but you know, you can definitely make some use of that, especially because it's a tutor move, so you don't need to keep that at all times. Whereas with your level up moves, you have to be careful with when you delete those because, again, they're level up moves. You don't have the move leader until the end of the game. That's why TMs and tutors are awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the video off there. Just keep in mind, all balanced for in-game. This is nothing too. There are so many stronger things than Noivern. It's nothing too strong whatsoever for this hack standards. It's just another strong, fast, offensive Pokemon. Pretty good for Nuzlocke. I mean, honestly, frailty, bit of a shame, but it's not actually that frail, so it's a great Pokemon. It's super sick. Noivern is awesome. Very cool design, so I'm happy I could do it justice finally. I don't know why it had such a weirdly low special attack stat, and also, God, Noibat's stats and evolution level were terrible, but that's like a standard change for this hack, because Pokemon all evolve a lot earlier, and power levels are a lot stronger even earlier on in the game, so yeah. Thanks so much for listening. I'll be back for more Kalos coming up. This is actually the last non-legendary Pokemon, so we're almost done with Kalos. Appreciate everybody listening this far into the video. Let me know down below in the comments if you listened this far. A little bit of a ramblier one, but I just wanted to be thorough with this one because I know people might look at this and be like, oh my god, this guy is making everything broken, but they don't understand how the hack actually functions, you know? Yeah. Peace, everybody.